Hello and welcome to another episode of the Classical Republican. Today we're talking about Isaiah Berlin's two concepts of liberty, and this video will serve as a general overview of Isaiah Berlin and positive and negative liberty, but it's also an introductory video to my audio article that's on the playlist. Just look under the playlist. It'll be there, Isaiah Berlin's essay on positive and negative. So what we're going to be doing today, I'm going to talk to you about Isaiah Berlin. He lived from 1909 to 1997. He was a Latvian refugee to the United Kingdom, and he was an Oxford professor. So looking at the context of this essay, it was written during the Cold War by someone who fled the USSR. Now, if you are not familiar with negative and positive liberty, we have negative liberty, which is non-interference and freedom from, while positive liberty is non-domination and freedom to. Now, let's go, just read a few quotes from the essay that help sum it up. Let's see. This is section 1. The notion of negative freedom. I am normally said to be free to the degree to which no man or body of men interferes with my activity. Political liberty, in this sense, is simply the area within which a man can act unobstructed by others. If I am prevented by others from doing what I could otherwise do, I am to that degree unfree. And if this area is contracted by other men beyond a certain minimum, I can be described as being coerced, or it may be enslaved. Okay, so that's your negative liberty. Let's go on to section 2, the notion of positive freedom. The positive sense of the word liberty derives from the wish on the part of the individual to be his own master. I wish my life and decisions to depend on myself, not on external forces of whatever kind. I wish to be the instrument of my own, not of other men's acts of will. I wish to be a subject, not an object, to be moved by reasons, by conscious purposes, which are my own, not by causes which affect me, as it were from outside. I wish to be somebody, not nobody. A doer, deciding, not being decided for, self-directed, and not acted upon by external nature or by other men, as if I were a thing or an animal or a slave incapable of playing a human role conceiving goals and policies of my own and realizing them. Okay, Isaiah Berlin wrote this essay in 1969. And it had a huge impact on how we define, live, and promote liberty. Positive liberty is not a bad thing. It is a necessary thing. Even though in the essay he comes out in favor of negative freedom. And we see that today in America, in the United States of America, especially. You see positive liberty. I mean, you see negative liberty as the definition of liberty. Okay, so then I want to go to read at the end of the essay. He actually comes out and says that you need positive liberty. Even though he spent the whole essay just trashing it and saying that it's been abused and positive, really since the 18th century, people have done horrible things in the name of positive liberty. But he says here, indeed, I have tried to show that it is the notion of freedom in its positive sense that is at the heart of the demands for national or social self-direction which animate the most powerful and morally just public movements of our time, and that not to recognize this is to misunderstand the most vital facts and ideas of our age. Okay. So, positive liberty is not a bad thing. It is absolutely necessary. But it must be in the proper balance for the times. He is writing during the Cold War. He is firmly anti-Soviet. One way to oppose the totalitarian communists, in his view, is for the West to promote non-interference to the detriment of non-domination. Perhaps that was a good idea during the Cold War. This is a major divergence between classical liberalism, which is very negative freedom-centered, and classical republican, which values positive freedom. Now, locally here in Idaho, we see people on the, some people will call them the far right, some people will call them libertarians, taking over the Republican Party, the only party to speak of here in Idaho, and pushing extreme negative freedom policies and even destroying local sovereignty, which will only lead to the atomization of man. I believe in our time, we are seeing the abuse of negative freedom, and the pendulum needs to swing back in favor of positive freedom. So, perhaps it is time to turn our attention away from non-interference and concentrate on non-domination once again. So please like and subscribe and share so we can spread the message of classical republicanism and oppose the arbitrary domination and uphold the mixed regime. Long live the Republic.